Welcome to Colorful Conversation.
Two stylists,
one vibe.
Well, welcome to Colorful Conversation on tonight. We welcome y'all. Thank y'all so much for joining us. And we have a special guest tonight. It's just going to be amazing. So, as we always start off, we're going to introduce ourselves. I'm Mona.
I'm Kaye.
And welcome to Colorful Conversation.
Hey.
Yay! So, Kaye, how you been doing?
Well, Mona, and my answer is routine. I've been very busy, but I'm doing very well. Thank you for asking. How are you?
My answer is routine. I'm tired, as usual. But I'm here. I had a long week, and I had a long weekend, but it's been amazing. And I'm excited for tonight. I am excited. So, Kaye, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Well, normally we start out with a little tea under the dryer.
We do.
Now, tonight we got all kind of tea, dryers, and everything else. So
Yes.
we're going straight to the conversation. I am honored to have a guest. We have a guest tonight who I deeply admire, and she is just all things civic and politics. So I want to introduce her, and I'm going to introduce her by giving her the mic and letting her tell us about who she is and some of the things that she's done. So I'm going to just turn it over. Our guest tonight is the admirable, well-spoken, the verbose Betty Culbreath. She is Dallas County's outspoken civic. She gonna check me for keep talking too much. Let me turn it over to Ms. Culbreath, and then I'll let her tell you a little bit about who she is, and then we'll just dive into the conversation. Both of your seatbelts, because we got a fun night tonight.
Yes, we do.
Thank you, Kaye, and thank you, Mona, for inviting me to join you all. I always think about live presentations, and sometimes I shy away from them because a lot of times I can go back and correct what I say online, correct what I say in email, but on live I can't, there is no correcting, it's all here.
Yes.
But I'm an original Dallasite. I grew up in Dallas. Been real active in the political arena ever since I was a young lady.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess my professional career, I was a trained social worker and a behavior specialist.
Mm-hmm.
And I retired from Dallas County Health and Human Services after 20 years. But along those lines, I served on the Airport Board, Dallas Housing Authority Board, where I'm presently chair of that particular board. And first African American woman to serve on the City Planning Commission and appointed chair on Dallas City Planning Commission twice. Once by Steve Barley, the second time by Laura Miller. Served on the Parkland Hospital Board. So I don't brag a lot or talk a lot about what I used to do simply because I did it because it was the right thing to do at the time, and I thought I could bring something to those positions to help my community, to help my people. So I've been floating around the political arena a long time. I have a lot of opinions, and I've supported a lot of good people, and I tell the truth about people, and a lot of times I have a lot of haters. Well, I'm not going to say the haters. I'm going to say I have a lot of people who disagree with my opinions. So they hate what I say about things. So they don't hate me. They just don't like what I say. They don't like the fact that I say it out loud in public.
Okay.
I don't hide it.
Okay. You out in the open with it.
Everything I know. So that's about it.
But Miss Betty, you had a very interesting start and how your first appointment to politics and how you got introduced to politics in college. And I think people, that's one of I find to be really fascinating. Can you share?
From Austin? Yes,
LBJ.
Yeah, that's interesting. And in fact, it's interesting because it really is explains how I knew Ron Turk. Okay. I attended Houston Tillerson University in Austin, Texas, and I guess I was a busybody. I'm not sure how I came in contact with Miss Kirk, who was a precinct chair and an activist in Democrat politics in Austin. But I was invited to volunteer with Lyndon Johnson's senatorial campaign. It's interesting, it was his senatorial campaign, and that's when I was first introduced to how grassroots politics actually work. Because what we did, that particular campaign that Ms. Kirk was coordinating, interestingly enough, I never remember meeting Ron Kirk during those days. But anyway, I got involved with LBJ's campaign, and that led me to do grassroots campaigning all over the city of Austin. And that's where I learned a lot of the things that I brought home with me in other campaigns, is what she taught us. I mean, from riding the bus, handing out litters to walking door to door, and the 10, 2, and 4, you know, at 10 o'clock you check the numbers. If your numbers are low, then at 2 o'clock you go knock doors. And then you check the numbers at 4 o'clock, and if your numbers, depending on what your number is, you go out and send another teams out to knock doors and get people who are registered who just haven't gone. So I got involved in LBJ's campaign and stayed active with that group of people. And so that involved and went on, and then I, of course, got involved with the Bushes later on, because it was just something about Lord Benson and them that didn't move me. But I think I got involved with the Bushes because George Bush was a congressperson, one of the only Texas congresspersons who voted for the open housing bill. So while people frown about Republicans, this and that, you have a good elected official, I don't care what side of the spectrum they are. If they make decisions that impact the whole population, they're a good person. You know, and so we get so hung up when I say we get so hung up on party, and we get so hung up on being mad at somebody. For what? Yeah. If they make a decision that affects the mass of people, that's a good decision. So, but that's how I my first real political campaign was Lyndon Baines Johnson, the United States Senator. And that's where I first learned that Lyndon Johnson kept a black book. And that's how Lyndon Johnson was able to get a lot of things done in Washington, because he had a black book and he kept notes on everything and everybody. And when time came to call the roll, Lyndon Johnson called the roll based on that black book. So it's old, but it's good. It's good. It's good. It's good to have leverage. It's good to have something in your pocket that you can use when you need to persuade people to do what is right. Yes. Not to persuade them to do wrong, but to persuade them to do what is right. And so,
when Lyndon Johnson used his black book for the war on poverty, tell us about how you got the call for the war on poverty and the work that you did with that.
Oh, okay. You really want to go way back.
Yeah, I think they need to know, first of all, we got to give your receipts so that they can understand why you have such a strong opinion.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, Lyndon Johnson, as you know, implemented the war on poverty, and that was a way to help bring black people up and out of impoverished situations. It was to help black people all over America, really, because we were still living, and that was in 1966. We were still living in neighborhoods, and we were living in, and that was before open housing or what, right back there a long time. But we were living in neighborhoods where didn't have paved street lights, a lot of things that kept us impoverished in our neighborhoods, and we were still struggling to get jobs and different things. But anyway, I was fortunate enough to go to work for the war on poverty in Dallas. And I went to work, I got the job, and of course at the nudging of some folks I had worked with from Austin in the Johnson campaign, I was a community organizer. And there were 5 different, see, a lot of young people don't realize black people couldn't live in the way they want to live. Neighborhoods were segregated, so all y'all living in the high-rise in the suburbs, you could not live there before the open housing law. that permitted black people to buy anywhere they wanted to be. And if a realtor or a developer refused to sell, then they could be prosecuted under federal law. But George Bush voted to support that bill, and he's a congressman from Houston. So community groups under Ron Powell, they were broken up into areas of responsibility. So I was a community organizer. And Mr. Ed Lackey, dead in his grave, was the supervisor over the unit that I worked for. And after Mr. Lackey left, then I became the supervisor of my unit. And so we organized South Dallas, and we were responsible for paved streets, street lights, you name it, we did all of that. We engaged people, we organized people. Mr. Lipton came out of that group of people. He was a community organizer, and we had to fight to get him hired because he had a little problem in California. But anyway, he was one of the organizers. But we actually organized black people in Dallas. We were responsible. We were in that fight when eminent domain came about, the fair parks and taking those homes and land over there. We were involved in all of that, and it's interesting when you read about it, you don't really know who I was involved in that and how it all came down. And this when I give Mayor Eric Johnson, who was the mayor back then, credit, because when he was elected and came on board, I'm trying to condense this.
Yes.
He stepped up to the plate and said, stop lowballing those folks in those eminent domain cases over there and pay them fair market value for him. Well, see, folks don't know this was a white man who made that decision. But, you know, they don't know how to relate to that, but I do, because I was there. So many people have played so many parts in making things work. And it wasn't just no black people. It was white people, Jews, and people who believed in the cause who brought all this stuff together and made it happen. Reverend Wright, they talk about Reverend Wright, but Reverend Wright was always right behind the door over there telling somebody how to do it, what to do, and what we need to do. And that's how we avoided having a riot in Dallas when we desegregated the public transit system and other things that we did. The reason we did not have a lot of civil disorder was because men like Reverend Wright and other ministers and things, and they always talk about Reverend Wright. Reverend Wright made a lot of things happen quietly, and so they happened. And so Dallas peacefully, in its own way, integrated, even though you had, you know, your loose theories and you had your people who fought it. In fact, they wouldn't even accept federal dollars for housing in Dallas. Because Eric Calvin said, we don't want federal dollars, we don't want the regulation to come with it. He didn't want integration. So he refused, the city fairly refused to take federal housing dollars for a long time because they did not want the integration to come with it, even though we were quietly integrating everything. So when I hear people talk about how bad things are, I said, well, not really.
Not really.
not really. And then, so that came out. The war on poverty came out of the war on poverty came these new leaders and new types of organizations and new things that we did, along with new legislation to help everything work. So it got us to a good place.
So you've been around a long time, Miss Betty. A long time. You done seen a lot unfold. You done seen a lot from the beginning. So where do you think this great divide has came from? Because it sounds like back then both parties knew how to work together.
Oh, absolutely.
So where do you think the great divide is coming from?
Well,
or has came from?
Well, where it came from is that once President Obama was elected, black people somehow started thought that President Obama should do everything and be everything for us. But President Obama was elected to be the President of the United States of America. So we wanted the black president to be more to us than he would be to anybody else. But then we fought against the other presidents because we thought they were more to them than us. So we can't, see, black people got to learn we can't have both ways. If it's fair Obama to be the president of the United States of America, if he can't single out and do things that only benefit black people, if it benefits black people, it's supposed to benefit all America. So somehow or other, doing this timing with the woke and the Me Too and these new type of movements that came during President Obama's time, and it really got worse and worse and worse. These movements grew to be bigger than life, and the internet, the social media has really done a number on us, because most other people understand that this is the media. But for some reason, black people have taken this as being the law of the land. And so we are so divided now because the younger black people, they blame everybody for everything.
Yeah.
So they are not really that involved in partisan politics as they are with media politics. So if the media sway one way or the other, they roll with the flow, whatever Facebook say or whatever TikTok say, that's how they roll. But these same folk won't roll to the polls. So therefore you have all these folks who all of a sudden are influencers. But they influencing us in the wrong direction. Because that influence is based on them making dollars from how many clicks they get. But in everyday life, our being is based on how hard we work and what we do. So we divided now because we got our 4 different groups of black people. We got the hard-working professionals. We got the everyday working, hard-working laborers. We got the professional pimps that sell racism. We got the professional beat the system, and we got the homeless. That's what we got. And so we are divided. The black race is divided in 5 different categories. And based on who you hook up with, is how you going. Now, these nowadays politicians that come out of these first 3 groups, they are trying to do what the old groups used to do. See, black people used to be Republicans. Well, what the Democrats did was they would go and they would get together and pay different preachers and different people in the community some money to get them to come over and be for their candidate. Black people couldn't even vote in a Democratic primary in Texas. They can't vote in Republican primary. Black people didn't vote in no Democrat primary. Democrats didn't want Democrats didn't want no black people voting in the primary. So when black people paid poll taxes back in the day, they could only vote in Republican primary. And y'all Facebook folks, look it up.
Look it
Ask
up.
Google.
Look it up.
I think it was late in the 60s that black people first could vote in the Democratic primary in state Texas. So why y'all got all this loyalty to the Democratic Party? You couldn't even vote in the primary. So what y'all talking about? But anyway, and so consequently, there you have it. But that's what the divide is. The divide is we divide into 5 groups just within our one race. And then all these 5 are connected some kind of way with all these others. What do you think 80% of the homeless people die? Because they have given up on life and decided it's better to get high, go to the food folk that give something away to eat and go back and sleep on the sidewalk. Because they've given up on America. They've given up on their dream. You don't see no homeless Hispanics. No homeless Asians. No homeless Indians. You don't see none of that. Look at who homeless people are.
You gonna have me looking now.
You're not gonna find those.
That's interesting, Miss Betty, and I know you know the statistics with the Dallas housing. This has been interesting. Mona, see what I'm telling you? This presidential appointment and all this, I'm telling y'all. So it was important to me before we even jumped into anything else that you gave us your receipts. So when you say you know what you're talking about, she know what she's talking about. She know what she's talking about. And now that we're going to do that, let's start with the city of Dallas.
Okay.
What's going on with the city of Dallas? Why we need to renovate so bad? Why it costs so much money? What's happening with the city of Dallas?
Well, the city, the general maintenance of the building itself has been put off through the years. So most of the past councils are responsible for some of that. But I do remember prior to during Rollins and T.C. Broadneck's time, to his credit, T.C. Broadneck did bring forth an item that he wanted to put on the bond proposal to renovate, do some major renovation in City Hall. And that council at the time passed that, would not put that particular item on the bond agenda. So that lack of really doing real maintenance in that building, that's just kind of something that just kind of chugged along till it got big. But because of this urgency to address the needs of the Dallas Mavericks, all of a sudden the repair of the building has now become a major thing. But, and I tell everybody, I'm not going to ever say that the building does not need maintenance. However, if the building needed maintenance at the level that management is suggesting that it needs, then there is no way the building could still have a CO. Because the CO is there based on the functionality of the building and its security systems. So if in fact there's something so detrimental going on that you got to abandon this building, then the CO should have been pulled before the marriage went home. So they are working in concert, because if you throw up this red flag about this urgency on this building, then that gives you a very clear street to saying we need to get out of it. Okay, we need to get out of it because the Mavericks are going to leave downtown if we don't find them a space to go. But now, keep in mind, the Mavericks said they wanted 50 acres of land. City Hall is not on 50 acres of land. In fact, it's 11 acres. So anybody with a brain would know if they vacate that building, that's only 11 acres. Where are you going to get the other 40-some acres? You're going to need to tear down the Jerry Johnson Library. You're going to need to tear down Memorial Auditorium. So why do you think that the Wings are not playing in Memorial Auditorium when they have a contract that it was supposed to be ready to play their first season in 27? Because we not moved on the contract that's signed for the Wings, because we know that if we get the City Hall bulldozed down, we are going to bulldoze down the Memorial Auditorium to make up part of the 50 acres.
Y'all heard that.
So therefore, we on the hook with a contract with the Wings in writing that we are not fulfilling, because we're trying to mass 50 acres around the City Hall property for the Mavericks.
So who does this fall on? Is this the mayor or the city manager? Who runs city? Who runs Dallas? Is it the mayor? Is it the city manager? What do you see as the hold up for getting the renovations or whatever?
Well, here's the problem. Under the Dallas City Charter, the city manager runs the city of Dallas. The council or the legislative body who sets policy and procedure. However, the council has a duty to the citizens to put forth leadership in any major area that is confronting us. But the problem in this situation is when the Mavericks came to T.C. Broadnax, and I'm let the world know T.C. Broadnax and Mike Rollins are part of this problem. Because the Mavericks came to T.C. Broadnax and Mike Rollins, the Mavericks and the Stars came and said, look, AAA Center needs some major renovation. We need you all to kick in some money to help us to renovate it. They were going to do their share if the city would come up with something. Fatfoot, Bully, Mike Brown, T.C. Brown here, we're not giving you no money to renovate. Y'all go work it out. Well, then you had the Stars and the Mavericks got into a big tussle about that, about this renovation. This is before Mayor Johnson ever got there. They had to fight about the renovation because the Mavericks wanted the Stars to pay a bigger share of the renovation. But the Mavericks felt like the Stars should pay bigger. The Stars felt like the Mavericks had a much better financial standing and much more financially into it, and they should have a bigger share of it. So y'all might not remember, they went to court on this deal. So now the contract is with the city, but the Mavericks sued the Stars. Well, city, how did you got the Mavericks suing the Stars, but the contract is with you, city? Makes absolutely no sense.
No sense.
Well, there you have it. So, make a long story short, it got like it was because then the urgency all of a sudden became what we're going to do about the Mavericks when the new ownership decided they wanted a new arena. But the new ownership made very plain that they want a new arena with 50 or more acres because eventually the state of Texas will approve casino gambling, even if it's only with the machines, if it's not shooting crap. So they want to make sure that they have enough land if they build them. But remember, the Mavericks have already purchased the old Dallas Cowboy property in Irving. The Urban City Council and the Urban Planning Commission has already approved that property for whatever they want to put on it. So that's the Mavericks ace in the hole. Going to Valley View was not the Mavericks ace in the hole. The Mavericks were kind of playing games. They said, okay, we'll go to Valley View, Dallas. Well, they want to see what Dallas can put on the table for Valley View, but the Mavericks own the old Cowboy site in Irving, Texas, and they're just sitting there ready for them to come to it.
Wow.
With the city of Irving's financial support. So that's where that is. So they can jump through as many hoops as they want to down here about this building. The Mavericks is going to Irving.
I have a question, but before I ask this question, if y'all have any questions, I want y'all to ask your questions, but we're gonna hold them like toward the end, and she's gonna answer questions for you all. So y'all get your questions ready. This is so good. Miss Betty, my question is, y'all look, I have Miss Betty glasses on. What is the biggest challenge Dallas County is facing right now?
Dallas County?
Uh-huh.
Dallas County.
Yes.
Okay. Jail overpopulation. Now, the county is a very well-run government entity. The county is.
Okay.
It really is. And their biggest problem right now, as far as the county is concerned, is jail overpopulation. And the fact that they spend so many dollars with computer systems, and the computer systems that they currently have not been working the way it should. But then, of course, the sheriff has refused to tie on to the system that the county purchased. So that's another area because the county has paid with 4 lawsuits out because inmates have been held past their time of discharge in Dallas County Jail because the sheriff won't release them. And so so the sheriff said that's a conflict, that's a glitch in the system.
Okay.
But
how can they fix this overpopulation?
well, First of all, you got to let folks go when they supposed to be gone.
That's a good way.
That's one way. That's one way.
Okay.
But the second way is that the DA's office, in my opinion,
Okay.
need to process more cases on a daily basis. That then involves all these black women judges that we have in the front Crockett building, in the criminal court building, who will work at 10 to get off their help. So you're going to have to keep the courts need to be open all day.
All day.
And they need to have trials all day, not every 90.
Okay.
So you got people in loose area justice center just waiting to go to court.
Wow.
Waiting for disposition. I mean, they are 100% at capacity.
You think that that jail, that timing with the jail judges, did that kind of start during COVID? Like when we started getting behind, or was this even before COVID?
The not working been going on forever.
Uh-huh.
Now, COVID impacted them.
Uh-huh.
COVID did impact.
Okay.
But COVID been over, what, 2 years? 3 years?
Yeah, several years.
What's going on now ain't got nothing to do with COVID. It's got something to do with people not working.
Okay.
And that not letting people out got to do with the fact that the sheriff, to this day, unless she did it yesterday, have not signed on to the new computer software that currently the county is using in the court systems and in the county church and district church. That's software that when the court makes disposition, when the trial is over, when a person plea or whatever the disposition of that case is at 9:30, that should be put in the system. And by 1 o'clock, the sheriff's office should have that on their computer that Joe Blow has been disposed of and need to be released. Not stay here 2 more months. So that's the big, in my estimation, that's the big problem that Dallas County as a whole, in terms of the government is concerned, is that zero practice, and it's not a lot of that the commission's court can do about it, because it takes the DA and those judges and the sheriff working together to resolve that. And TDC to process whatever they need to process, because see, when Sheriff Bowles was the sheriff, Sheriff Bowles had, and I'm not sure I'm not going to speculate on what happened with that transportation thing, but Dallas County used to transport their own inmates to Huntsville. I know now the sheriff's department waits on TDC to come and get them, so I don't know if that's a state change, but something has changed, because they wait on TDC to pick people up. Well, Sheriff Bowles fill that bus up and he'd be gone, you know, to TDC and put them folk down. So, but I'm not going to say that is her fault. I'm not sure if that's a change in the law or what it is. But if you wait on state come pick somebody up, if you have the capacity to take them, you need to take them.
Okay.
Mona, I'm gonna go ahead and go to Miss Betty. Was Jasmine Crockett cheated out of her sentencing? What happened? There's been a lot of talk, and we know Miss Betty got something to say. Was Jasmine Crockett cheated out of her sentencing or her primary?
But how can anybody even think that? Do people think that?
Yeah, the polls closed early. That's what they say. I'm asking.
They said the polls closed early, and then a lot of people couldn't
let
vote.
people vote, and then you know they said stay open to 7, and then they said.
But that's going to show you how lies get out. What happened was when the Republican Party decided they wanted to have the separate primaries. Remember, we used to have the primaries together. At the same place. The machines, you would go in this room for Republicans and in this room for, but when Allen West decided they wanted separate primaries, that meant the election department had to put the Republican primaries in their own place and the Democrat primaries in their own place. Well, as a result of that meant that they had to scramble real quickly to do all that, so they didn't have enough work. There's a lot of things that they didn't have enough of to accommodate that particular request. And what you have to understand is that the parties are responsible for their primary election. The county is simply a mechanism by which they go through, but the county is responsible for the general election. It is not responsible for primary election. Each party is responsible for their own primary. Now, they pay the county to run those. Well, Dallas County Commissioners Court, after the Republican Party had those separate primary, Dallas County Commissioners Court commissioned a PR firm and paid them $1 million to get the word out about the primary changes, the locations where everybody was supposed to go. They even had people out with the little light colored vest on at polling places directing people where to go. Mm-hmm. So consequently, because a lot of people did not get the word for whatever reason, they went to polling places and it was too crowded. They could not get in, and they were redirected to other places because we didn't have it. Well, the word was out there. If they didn't pay no attention to the word, that ain't nobody's problem. Because it was out there. It was advertised. It was in the newspaper. It was everywhere. But a lot of people who went, and most of it was, we didn't have any voting centers. Mm-hmm. Okay. See, they were individual places. So you couldn't go to the voting center where you used to go on to vote where everybody would go. So there were no voting centers. So people who were going to the wrong places had to be redirected where to go. Remember, with that change, they also said they made people vote at their home precinct. Mm-hmm. You couldn't vote at the polling center. You had to vote in your own precinct. Mm-hmm. So that was confusing. So people were redirected. People were sent across town. So consequently, they did file to stay open a little bit later in order to accommodate those votes. And those were the votes that were thrown out. However, it didn't affect Jasmine Crockett at all. Because that only happened in Dallas, Texas, and some in Houston. But the numbers of votes cast for Talerico outweighed the 200 and something people who said their votes were not counted. Jasmine Crockett got beat by what? 200,000 or 300,000 votes?
Yeah, wow. She was a big number.
It was a large number. So how can anybody in their right mind believe she was cheated? Okay. Jasmine Crockett was not cheated out of no election.
So the confusion was the Republican Party that caused the confusion.
And they did what was allowed by law to demand that they had separate primary voting locations and that people would vote in their home precinct. Yes. And that's permitted by state law.
But you think it was an intentional, do you think it was an intentional, they switch it up to get people confused?
Not get no Democrats confused.
Okay.
And why would the Republicans create something to confuse Democrats? Because it's not the general election, it's primary. Mm-hmm. And Republicans hate Jasmine Crockett with her race-based self. Okay. So why would they do anything? I mean, they don't believe Jasmine Crockett. Well, Republicans know Jasmine Crockett not going to win state Texas. No way.
Well, Jasmine Crockett, I've recently heard her say that this race was racist.
Mm. What's racist about? What was racist? She think the race was racist because Talerico beat her.
I'm asking you. So, what are your thoughts on it?
Let me just say this professionally and intelligently. First of all, number one, Talerico had already started his senatorial campaign, number one, and had announced. So he was ahead of Jasmine in terms of announcement, fundraising, and operation. Number two, if you all remember, and I'm not sure why black people have such a short memory, Jasmine did not announce what she was running for until after the redistricting happened, and Jasmine was up in the air after the redistricting lines were redrawn And the court upheld those lines in the state of Texas. Jasmine then told everybody that she did not know what she was going to run for. Now, if you all remember, black people, Jasmine told everybody that she was going to make an announcement at 4 o'clock on a given day, which was 2 hours before the filing deadline. Jasmine's announcement was going to be made at 4 p.m., 2 hours before the filing deadline for the primary as to what she was going to run for. At 10 o'clock the night before, Jasmine had led Mark Beasley to believe that she was going to support him to run for District 30, which was her old district. She then polled, what's that man's name?
Pastor.
No, that man that won. See, y'all can't even remember that.
I do.
What's his name?
Colin
Already.
Because remember, Colin already had said he was going to run for the Senate seat. Y'all remember?
Mm-hmm.
She talked Colin already out of running for the Senate seat. Now, all this happened before 12 midnight, the day before. She then, bless his heart, got Pastor Haynes and talked him into agreeing to run for her seat. Now, Jasmine did all of this the day before.
Mm-hmm.
She was going to make this announcement at 4. At 4 o'clock, Jasmine made this announcement that she was going to run for the United States Senate. But here's the kicker. Jasmine already had printed yard signs at that announcement. There was no printing press in the world who could have made those signs and had them delivered at that place by 4 o'clock if they had only been told that day.
Mm-hmm.
So Jasmine already knew that when she was convincing Freddie Haynes to run, backstabbing Mark Beasley, and talking Colin already out that Senate race, that she was indeed going to run for that Senate. So there is no racism in that. Jasmine put that together like she put together a criminal defense case. And she worked those men. She worked those men to her advantage. And she was behind from Jump Street because even Colin had already started and mentioned that he was going to run.
Mm-hmm.
Talerico was already running. Had already announced and was already running. So nobody did anything wrong to Jasmine. Jasmine manipulated those men, and Jasmine knew or should have known that in the state of Texas, she was not going to win that primary when she was out here outspoken proponent of abortion,
Right.
and LGBTQ rights in the state of Texas. Now, I don't care what side of that issue you on, but in Texas right now, those two things are not going to carry you over. In Texas, I don't care if you black, white, green, or blue.
Yeah, that's.
So those were the two big issues. Those were the two big issues, and she lost fair and square.
Let's talk about demographics in Texas. How does the demographics of Texas play into this race? If it's a racist race, what are the demographics of Texas, and why hasn't a Democrat won in Texas before now in the last 30 years?
But see, it's not a racist race. It's the ideological race. The Democrats have been so far over there with this abortion, LGBTQ, and everybody come on home that they have lost their moderate Democrat supporters. The moderate Democrats are now over with the Republicans simply because you take the Hispanics. Hispanic people are very, very true to their religion.
Mm-hmm.
Hispanic people do not believe in abortions. I didn't say they don't have them. I said they don't believe in them based on their religion. They're not going to vote for anybody that's out here talking about abortions on a daily basis. We have all been and welcomed LGBTQ people in our lives and our families and everywhere. We don't discriminate against people. But people in Texas do not want that to be an in-your-face thing on a daily basis. That's just the way it is. Not that we agree or disagree, but we've always accepted our people, whoever they are. Who cares about? Do you realize that when you constantly talk about LGBTQ, all you talking about is what people do in the bedroom? So nobody wants that in their face all day long. All you talking about is the bedroom. If any of us walk into a meeting today, the only thing that anybody's gonna be able to say is if we black or we white. They don't want to know about what's in your bedroom. So that's what they're against. It's not against nobody and hide whatever they do. Nobody wants that, to face that every day, to discuss what may be going on in your bedroom. And so the Democrats have got to come back. The progressive Democrats have got to come back and get their people back. It's not about no race.
So do you think Talerico is doing a good job of bringing the people back?
Well, what Talerico is doing that the Democrats are mad about is that Talerico got one speech and one platform and he gives it to everybody. He is not doing like the old time folk used to do. Gave a speech in North Dallas, give a speech in South Dallas, different speech in West Dallas, and different speech in East Dallas. Talerico has one speech for everybody. As when the black folks are now all of a sudden they're riled up against Talerico don't have a black agenda. What is the black agenda? I ain't got none either. What is the black agenda? I'm serious. What is the black agenda?
Well, let's talk about, again, I was thinking, so this is what my thought was. When we talk about the right now, people are saying, well, I actually heard Jasmine say that her race was a racist race. My response to that was, in the state of Texas, black people, and I think most people don't realize that in the state of Texas, black people comprise only 13 to 14% of the entire population when you consider the state. So we're looking at about 4 to 5 million people in the state of Texas that are black. And then of those, only about 20% of us actually go to the poll. So we got to do a better job of actually going to the poll. If you're going to buy into this was racism, the biggest problem is enough of us didn't go to the poll. And I do believe that when we get upset and say that we're going to withhold our vote from Talerico, then there's Ken Paxton who's smiling, who wants to align with the current administration. And when you look at just over the last year, voting rights have been attacked. They have the redistricting that has happened. All of the things that have already happened against us. And so we decide we're going to be mad at Talerico, but what we really do is open the door for more.
But see, and here's one of the things at my old age that I don't get about black people. Black people only think is racist when it pertains to them. Now, Jasmine is hollering that Talerico and her race was racist. But she hasn't said that Alred and Julie Johnson's race was racist. Same thing. Black man, white woman. Black woman, white man. So if her and Talerico was racist, how come calling Alred and Julie Johnson wasn't tagged as racist? Why? Because he won? Oh, if Julie had won, were they going to say it was racist? Black people have got to stop playing the race card. We use racism more than white people ever use against us. We worse off right now in terms of race relations than we've ever been. I'm 85 years old. Than we've ever been, and I was born and lived in 78 times. I've never seen it like this.
Do we have any questions?
Yes. I'm gonna text it to you.
No.
No.
What's the question?
What's the question? Ray, do you have any questions?
One lady, her name is Shanika. It sounds like you do not like Jasmine Crockett, so I don't think you're being fair with your statements.
Which one? Oh,
She said which one?
Well, I mean, which one? I said nothing about Jasmine Crockett personally. I spoke about Jasmine Crockett being late to enter the Senate race. I spoke about Jasmine's race not going anywhere. It wasn't racist. I mean, why would I dislike somebody I don't even know? I take my politics very, very serious. I live in District 30. I have nothing against Jasmine Crockett. Why would I waste any energy disliking Jasmine?
Terry Allen.
Hold on one second. Craig, you have any questions? No. No? Okay.
Terry Allen, thank you for joining the call, Ms. Betty. Dallas County has made history with more than 40 black female judges. However, concerns have been raised about unprofessional courtroom behavior and inconsistency rules and formal complaints. This makes the good black female judges look bad. What do you know about these concerns and how are judges held accountable?
That was one of the things that I touched on when she asked the question about what's wrong with Dallas County. We have a problem. There are some very good district judges down there, but there are some very bad ones.
No, he's saying how can you hold a judge accountable?
Well, the only thing that you can do to hold a judge accountable, and black people, you got to start doing this. You got to start documenting the incidents, and you must turn them in to the Judiciary Commission. They do act on things if you turn them in, but if you continue to allow these judges to do different things and act different ways in those courtrooms, you're not doing them any good by not. You have to file a complaint against them. It's
How do
a
you
shame.
file a complaint?
Oh, with the Texas Judiciary Commission, and it's online. They can go online and just put up the Texas Judiciary Commission, and they have a form online that tells you exactly how to file a complaint, and you need to file complaints against these judges. And over even in the civil section, it's terrible. A lady told me the other day, her child has been dead 5 years, and they are still in probate court after 5 years of losing a child from murder to have to be in probate for 5 years because the judge is not doing what they need to do. And the judges are playing with these trust accounts and doing a lot of other things. It's a lot going on.
Here's another one from Terry Allen. Hey, Mr. Terry. Betty, as a 12-year precinct chair and active community leader, I have other chair witnessed hundreds of known Republicans crossing over to vote in Democratic primaries, potentially weakening strong, winnable Democrat candidates. Does this expose a serious flaw in Texas' open primary system? Texas Elective Code, Chapter 162, which verifies voters' eligibility but does not require voters to demonstrate party affiliation or commitment.
Well, that's an old game that people play, that because we don't have a strict rule about we don't have a strict rule in this particular state, and so people have historically voted because your card is not stamped. None of your card is stamped with a party on it, but they don't stamp it when you go to the poll. But that's a flaw in the law, and the law would have to change where you can't just go and vote in any primary, But if you want to go and vote in the Republican primary, you can, as long as you're not declared or registered. But I thought we had started. I know they used to stamp it on your voter registration card when the first time you would vote in the primary, they would stamp it. So when you went back to the general election, but I'm not sure. I have to double check that to make sure. But I know that was just an old game that people used to play. They would beat people at the primary about crossover voting, but I'm not sure. I have to check to see. But that's a good question.
It's a very good question. Ms. Betty, you have given out some very good information, controversial information, where people are going to think about some things. And I have two questions for you.
I think I have one more. We might have to go a little bit over because we
Just
gotta
a little bit.
Okay, go ahead.
So my other question is, what changes can people expect over the next year? In the political arena or in Dallas County?
I think, in the nation, it's going to be worse for the better. We got Trump doing something every day. At City Hall, I think if some of those 9 council members don't wake up and see what's going on, the ones who have voted as a block to get ready to City Hall, if they don't wake up and see what's happening, they're gonna be in some trouble. Because they don't have the money to play all those games that they're playing, and something's going to crumble. You can't keep lighting fires and not put out any. See, and that's where we are right now. We got some of the fires going, and if they think they can outthink those Las Vegas people, they need some counsel.
I have a quick question. I know you work with Housing Authority, and we talked about homelessness. What can the city do, or is that a Dallas housing issue, to try to eradicate some of the homelessness, especially in downtown Dallas?
Yeah.
When you look at places like AT&T who are leaving Dallas, what can we do to kind of alleviate, or give me your spiel on housing and homelessness?
Well, the approach that the city has taken is not working. In 2022, the state legislatures passed the House Bill 1925 that gave municipalities the authority to clean their streets off. And the only caveat in that particular law says that the municipality has to designate a site that you can take a homeless person to once you remove him from the street. Law enforcement has to have a central designated spot to take this person to. Well, Austin, San Antonio, other municipalities have enforced House Bill 1925. The city of Dallas, however, has not, because under Mayor Mike Rollins and T.C. Baldwin, they decided to focus and put the HUD homeless money over into an independent agency, being Housing Forward, that was under the auspices of Peter Brosnick and them. So the city of Dallas took their HUD money, all of their millions are coming from federal government to do something about homeless, and gave it to this private nonprofit agency and allowed them to set the standard for housing. In that caveat was something called Housing First, where substance abuse and anybody in the world, you just put them in a house with no strings attached. You pay that rent, they can do drugs, they can do anything. Anyway, so to make a long story short, in the past 36 months, $500 million have been spent on homeless services. $500 million in federal dollars, raised dollars. That's how much has been spent in the last 36 months. And under every bridge you will find a homeless encounter. So that approach is not working, but the City of Dallas Homeless Solutions Department and the city council people refuse to demand that the city manager implements House Bill 1925. On my way down here, everywhere was homeless people leaned up against the building. And you wonder why Neiman Marcus is leaving, AT&T leaving, everybody leaving. People do not want to come outside their home, and we all have compassion for homeless people.
Absolutely.
But nobody wants to come out of their place of business on a daily basis and have to be confronted by homeless people. And the city's effort to do it has not worked, and they are refusing to do something different. Do something different. Try something different. Enforce. Do something. But they're not. So that's the problem. They need to implement House Bill 1925. And the council needs to insist that it's implemented, because with $500 million, you could have bought every homeless person a house and a car and fully furnished it and paid the insurance.
Okay.
So the direction, to answer your question, the direction needs to change on how to deal with the population.
So, Miss Betty, tell me a little bit about the Betty Culbreath apartment complex.
Oh, well, the old Rose Terrace housing project was demolished some years ago. And Dallas Housing Authority had that land sitting vacant for a while. We redeveloped Turner Courts housing project. But that's been sitting there, and HUD had a requirement back then that when you demolish so many units, you need to replace them. But then HUD ran out of money, and they no longer had new construction money. So making a long story short, we finally were able to put together a new project with Volunteers of America, who housing authorities can't borrow money on HUD-owned property. So while housing authorities owned the property was paid for by HUD back in the day. So we could not put the property up for collateral to do anything. So anyway, we entered into a partnership with Volunteers of America, who had the ability to borrow money. So it's a public-private partnership with them to build and replace these units that we bulldozed down so many years ago. So it's 346 units, brand new apartments being built on Bethune Street, right off of Bell Street. And it's a beautiful complex. It's a 4-story complex. Looking to open early September. It has pickleball, it has a swimming pool, it has weight room, it has all the amenities that any other private-owned apartment complex will have. And it's for 62 years and older. But it's going to be a beautiful project. But I'll let you all know about the river cut and everything. But that's a new 346 units that that's our trying to bring home.
The Betty Culbreath Housing, the Dallas Housing Authority is building the Betty Culbreath Center, and I can't wait to be out there smiling and cheesing, taking pictures. I tell her all the time I'm one of her fans.
Yeah.
I'm a fan. I'm in her fan base.
One more question. One word to describe Dallas County. Just one word.
Oh, it's great. Can I say one thing?
Yes. Say whatever you want to say.
Let me make this perfectly clear. I have nothing against Jasmine Crockett.
Okay.
I dislike the manner in which Jasmine Crockett has carried out her duties. Jasmine Crockett was in Texarkana County and ran for district attorney in Texarkana on the Democratic ticket. When Jasmine didn't win that race, Jasmine then decided she no longer wanted any part of Texas County, even though she had been voted to be the Democratic Party chair in Texas County. But Jasmine said, I don't want to do that, I'm leaving. So she has a history of reacting in loss. But even though she lost the DA race, she still was the Democratic Party chair. She could stay there and kept that commitment to be in the party. So I have nothing against Jasmine. But if you lose a race, take your loss and stick with your party. You don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. So I have nothing against Jasmine Crockett. Nothing. I don't even know Jasmine Crockett. I never met Jasmine Crockett in my life. I spoke to her one time on the phone when she was running for the Congress seat, congressional seat. But I have no animosity against her. No woman, nobody. But I'm going to call it as I see it when you file. So, but I appreciate you all for having me.
We appreciate you, Miss Betty. We got to have you back.
Anytime.
Oh, we got the juice here. We can get her anytime. Listen, if you're out there and you haven't already liked and subscribed to our Colorful Conversations page on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube. Once we finish going live, we take this down, we put it up live on our YouTube page. So please like and subscribe. It's CC, 2 Stylists, 1 Vibe, CC for Colorful Conversations. CC, 2 Stylists, 1 Vibe. If you haven't done so, go ahead and run over to YouTube right quick and like and subscribe that page. And then we will post this live over there within the next 24 hours.
Yes. And we just appreciate everyone that tuned in with us on tonight. It was beautiful. It was a lot of information. So we would gladly have Miss Betty back with more questions, more information. What's going on in Dallas County? And as you all know, we always in colorful conversation with positivity. So I'm always in colorful conversation with Psalms 91. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High should abide up under the shadows of the Almighty. Karen.
Thank you all for tuning in. I'm Kaye.
And I'm Mona.
And this is Miss Betty. Thank you guys, and we'll see you again in 2 weeks.